Welcome back to OFR Racing PlayStation. Welcome back to this amazing Audi R8 Lmp900 that is being used in the World Prototype Sprint Championship. This is still round 4. Now it's race 2. Still here at the amazing circuit of Road America. So let's look at the starting grid for this race. It is Simon Allen and Kev Allen on the front row, Diogo Silva and Scott Davely on the second, Diogo Almeida and Jorge Jesus on the third, Darren Head and Andrew Dalby, Peter Adrian and David Emge as they wait for the green light. And look at this, what a start there by Jorge Jesus again. It's Diogo Silva and Scott Davely side by side, but it's going to be Simon Allen leading into turn 1 as they. And here is an incident there with Diogo Silva and Diogo Almeida colliding, the top two in race 1, as Diogo Almeida was struggling a little bit there to stop that car on time. Now, what has happened to Kev Allen? He's dropped back. Kev Allen has dropped back. He's in 6th place. So Scott Davely up into 2nd, and this is the replay of what happened to Kev Allen. Let's see, not the ideal start. Simon Allen is disappearing into the distance. And now Kev goes into turn 1, and what's going to happen? Oh, he's just spinning. Yes, he spun on his own, and this puts Scott Davely up into 2nd. This is the replay from Jorge Jesus. What a start this was, as he was very quick off the line, then is really struggling then to find space between Diogo Silva and Scott Davely, who, by the way, were not giving any space to anyone. And now let's see what happened with Diogo Almeida and Diogo Silva. Diogo Almeida was trying. And Jorge Jesus has spun there. And gets hit by Andrew Dalby. So not the ideal start there for both drivers. Up into 6th goes Kev Allen, despite the spin. Let's go back to 10th place man David Emge. He's behind Peter Adrian in 9th. And he's up into... and Peter Adrian and David Emge have collided as well in turn 1. I think that's racing incident territory, as they were, sort of giving space to one another, but still, as ever, a very hectic turn 1 here at Road America. As another replay now from Andrew Dalby's perspective. He's in 8th place, Darren Head in 7th. Not great qualifying for Darren. Let's see what happens here as Diogo Almeida and Diogo Silva collide, and Jorge Jesus spins. And Darren and it was Andrew Dalby who collided then with Jorge Jesus, and they are in 7th and 8th. Curiously, Andrew Dalby actually hasn't lost or gained any position, because he was in 8th before this. As now we have a number of drivers already a little bit delayed. That was Kev Allen in 6th and Jorge Jesus in 7th. As now Diogo Silva in 3rd place. Scott Davely up into 2nd. That's a good start for the American driver. Darren Head in 7th, has some work in 5th now, as he was the biggest beneficiary there from that situation with Kev Allen spinning on his own, and also Jorge Jesus being delayed. Then head up into the top 5. Peter Adrian up into 9th. He was 10th the last time we checked. Now Darren Head is coming behind Diogo Almeida, the winner of race 1 in Canada corner. And would you believe it, we are still in lap 1 out of 11. Through Canada corner they go, and very wide goes. And gets a bit of a bump there by Darren, as Diogo Almeida actually run wide and lost some momentum. And now we are finally going to finish. And look at this, Diogo Almeida is running wide in the last corner. Darren Head up into 4th place. So Darren Head making a good recovery there, as Diogo Silva is now getting closer to Scott Davely. Simon Allen, by the way, is already 2 seconds ahead of everyone. Jorge Jesus is, has been passed by Andrew Dalby, and he's in the wall again. This is not the round that Jorge Jesus needed. After struggling in race 1, he is now struggling in race 2 as well. He's in 8th place, not making any progress, quite the opposite. He's just putting it into the wall, as now Diogo Almeida, after losing a position to there ahead, is under pressure from a recovering Kev. And Kev, remember, he started on the front row of the grid. He spun on his own in turn 1, lap 1, and he's now trying to recover to 5th. Let's look at this battle. Surely, I know when as he runs wide, they both run wide there to the grass, and behind these drivers, it's Andrew Dalby in 7th, Peter Adrian up into 8th now, with that off-road excursion by George Luge. Silva in 3rd place. Now, what can he do there? He can certainly put pressure on Scott Davely, but it's not going to be easy. The American driver tends to not make mistakes, and it's going to be a fascinating battle here. The issue is Simon Allen must be loving it, because he's running in clear air, which is quite important with this car, and his lead is up into 3 seconds already. In fact, it's already more than 3 seconds, as now Kev Allen is side by side with Diogo Almeida, and in fact he's already ahead at the start-finish line. So as we start lap 3, Diogo Almeida has dropped from 4th to 5th and now to 6th. So not the ideal start for the winner of race 1. He's finding that it's much more complicated to run in the middle of the field, in the middle of the pack, than to run at the front in clear air, where you have a lot more control over your own pace. So George Luge is all over Peter Adrian as well, battle for 8th place, with George being in 9th. Now Diogo Almeida is not giving up, and he's trying to put a challenge there on Kev Allen, 5th place man. Kev Allen is actually, look at this now. This is George Luge on Peter Adrian. He's going to go on the inside, and I think that that's going to be job done if he can actually make the corner, which with a bit of difficulty he managed to do. Lap 3 out of 11 as Diogo Silva continues to try to chase 2nd place. Scott Davely doing a good job there. He's not even close, Diogo Silva, to mounting a challenge or an attack on Scott Davely. They're heading 4th, Kev Allen in 5th, and these two drivers are still in contention for a podium. They could still also benefit from any mistakes ahead of them. They are 4th and 5th, and actually the gap is not that. It's only 1.5 seconds, give or take, between 3rd place man Diogo Silva and 4th place man Darren Heads. Peter Adrian in 9th place. He's been overtaken by George Luge. We saw that on the previous lap. Lap 4 already underway for the leaders. Simon Allen continues to lead. Now the gap has gone down. It was 3 seconds. And now it's 2.4. Simon Allen, not the greatest lap ever there. 155.1. And Scott Davely on the 154.4. And Diogo Silva 154.0. And in fact, Kev Allen and Dan Head are already in the 153, so they are definitely gaining ground, as now George Luge has lost the position again to Peter Adrian and is now trying to recover. And not much overtaking going on, but these two are certainly keeping the crowds entertained, as they are now, well, George Luge is on the outside of turn 4. Peter Adrian is not going to yield there, and rightly so, and a bit of pushing and shoving there, but all within the boundaries of the acceptable. A nice defense there by Peter. He was on the inside. Oh, George is spinning. George is spinning, reset button, but this is a disaster for George Luge. If he wants to win this championship, he's got to produce more consistent performances. He's already won a couple of races, in fact, this year, but the other results have been, well, a little bit polarizing, to say the least. And he's now in 9th place, and he's 3 seconds behind 8th place. He's already 21.8 seconds from the leader, Simon Allen. and this is after basically 4 laps. So George Jesus with a bit of work to do. We still have quite a fair bit to go in this race. Diogo Silva continues to chase Scott Davey, as now it's Kev Allen chasing Darren Head, battle for 4th place. Diogo Almeida is now running on his only 6th. Darren has already seen Kev in his mirrors and goes defensive in turn 1. I'm not sure that was really necessary there, but nevertheless he was trying to break the draft. But Kev is having none of it, and actually good line there to turn 1. And good line to turn 2 as well. Darren is out breaking himself and locking up. And now here comes Kev Allen. The drafting effect in this straight is quite substantial, and Kev is right in the position. Darren again goes defensive. We saw this with Peter Adrian and George Zush. And what's going to be the outcome here? The outcome is pretty much the same. Darren manages to defend. Nice defending there by Darren Head. Lap 5 already underway. We are reaching the midpoint of this race. Simon Allen has led every lap. We saw that in race 1 as well. Diogo Almeida led every lap of the race. So Simon Allen potentially could be running for the second victory of the season. And look at this. Scott Davey and Diogo Silva, 2 drivers that have not won the race this season, are battling it out for second place, hoping that maybe Simon Allen is going to make a mistake. But Simon Allen is in fact doing the fastest lap of the race, 1:52.835, and we had not seen 1:52s in the race so far. That's an absolutely brilliant time from Simon Allen, as Darren Head now outbreaks himself and locks up again in Canada corner, but Kev decided that there was no space correctly, because there was really no space. But nice battle here between 2 very experienced and successful drivers of OFR Space Station. Darren is again good defensive on the start-finish line, surely trying to break the draft and prevent Kev from mounting an attack into the inside of turn 1. And we are already on the 6th lap, so midpoint of the race is exactly in the middle of this lap. Let's see what other battles are there on the track. Not many, just like in race 1. We do have this awesome battle for 4th place, and that's why we're following it, between Darren Head in 4th and Kev Allen in 5th. And Darren is again going defensive on the inside of turn 4 there. Kev has to settle for 5th for now. He's trying to get a better exit out of 4, but really Darren made a very good exit himself. And now Kev, now he's out of the track. He's going to lose crucial momentum at this point, so that he is not close enough. Look at this. The other 2 drivers ahead are Scott Davey and Diogo Silva. So, and Kev Allen spun. Oh no! Kev Allen was doing such a good race now. Ends up losing a position to Diogo Almeida. Diogo returns to the top 5. The winner of race 1 is in 5th now. And fortunately for Kev, Andrew Dalby has been losing a fair bit of time. He's in 7th place. And he's 5 seconds behind Kev as it stands, even after that spin. So seems to be a safe 6th place now for Kev Allen. Simon Allen is also safe in the lead of this race. Now we are past the midpoint. We are in the second half of the race. Scott Davey is in 2nd place. Diogo Silva is in 3rd. And where is Diogo Silva right now? He's right behind this car. Scott Davey, there he is. Still a few car lengths between the 2 drivers. So no immediate threat from Diogo right now here at Road America. He seems, I'm not sure he's going to get to 2nd place at this rate, because Scott is doing a great job, not making any mistakes, also with good pace. 1:54.274. That is faster than Diogo, who only managed a 1:54.420. Diogo not particularly quick in this last lap. But and George Jesus is continuing to struggle there. He's in 9th place. Well, the good news is that he can see some drivers ahead of him visually, and that is well, Peter Adrian in 8th, and also Andrew Dalby in 7th. So we may have a three-way battle for 7th place in the late stages of this race. But Simon Allen, look at him, 4.4 seconds, is running away with this race. And he's going to become the championship leader by a bit of a margin. Look at this, Peter Adrian is on the grass, and George Luge easily goes through up into 8th place. Peter now outbreaks himself again there at the entrance section to the carousel. Simon Allen is going to be the championship leader and is going to be in a very good position to win the title in the next round, the last round of this championship in Dubai. Let's see how this race is still going to evolve. I think we may still be up for some surprises as lap... Which lap is this? I couldn't memorize. I believe it's lap 8 or 9. It is lap 8 out of 11, so still 3 laps to go when they next cross the line, as Diogo Silva is now becoming a little bit impatient with Scott Davey. He has studied the behavior of the American driver in every corner of this circuit in the first 7 laps. Now he's actually interested in getting to that second place himself and repeating the result of race 1. Still no wins for Diogo Silva. Remember, he's the reigning champion as he won the GTE championship at the back end of last year. Also and look at this is now it's Dalby losing out to George Luge. Nice move there by George, and Andrew Dalby does not seem to be very quick at this point, but he's trying to recover that position. Nice cover there by George Luge. He's definitely up into 7th spot. Andrew Dalby not moving in the right direction, just like in race 1. He seems to be going backwards. And that's just perhaps a little bit too little practice with this car and this track. And it's a very technical track, and they're jumping all over the place. They are running over the grass. Thankfully, there are no track limits penalties in this particular track. They will be reinstated for the Dubai round for pretty obvious reasons. But here, the view of the admins was that any off-road excursion is already very punished indeed, because you're either going to the grass or the curbs, or you're going to go into another area of the track where the car is going to be unsettled. And we've certainly seen that with drivers speeding very, very easily, or indeed just losing time because they've got to just reduce the speeds and go back to the racing line, and that always will take a little bit of time. Darren Head in 4th place is now running on his own because he's 3 seconds ahead of Diogo Almeida. Diogo promoted to 5th after that speed by Kev Allen. And now look at this, Diogo Silva is getting a little bit impatient now on lap 9. For the first time I can see Diogo is using the draft here in the back straight leading to turn 4. He's still a little bit too far behind to make a move, but he certainly wants to make that move before the end of the race. And fascinating battle here between these two drivers as well. Scott David tried to hold on, and this is Andrew Dalby. Andrew Dalby, this is before the back straight, and he was in 9th spot and just lost it, I believe. Yes, he just hits the curb, hits the grass, and then just turns right when he should be turning straight. Reset button, there you go. He's still in 9th spot. David Emge is actually not that far behind. In 10th place, David Emge did not have a drive-through penalty, unlike the one he had to take in the race 1. But now the gloves are off here in the battle for 2nd place, as Diogo Silva, the reigning champion of GTE at the back end of last year, tries to... Oh, and Scott Devlin now. Scott Devlin goes wide, and now here comes Diogo Silva on the outside, and he's going to take it on the outside. Yes, he is. Scott Devlin, mistake there, lost a lot of momentum, and Diogo took the position. Diogo Silva up into 2nd place, and Scott Devlin is going to have to contend with Darren Head. If he's not careful, he's still a couple of seconds ahead of Darren, 1.5 seconds to be more exact. but surely there now has a bit of a visual objective there with Scott Davely running and potentially having a bit of dirt in his tires as well. Simon Allen has absolutely no problem. He is completing yet another lap. He's going to enter the penultimate lap of this race. He has led every lap, and he has also been on pole position, and he also has the fastest lap of the race, so it has been a very dominant performance for Simon Allen, but he still needs to hold on for 2 more laps. We have seen in the past this situation, Simon Allen and other drivers as well ahead, only to make a mistake or to be disconnected before the end of the race. Darren Head is getting closer to Scott Davis. Scott trying to hold on to that podium position now. The good news is that he only needs to hold on for another 1.5 laps before the checkered flag falls. And probably at this point we believe that Simon Allen is in a very good position to win the race. Diogo Silva, let's look at that gap. And Diogo Silva last lap 153.9 against Simon's 153.8. So still, despite the fact that Diogo went ahead of Scott and is running now in free air, he does not seem to be making any progress. Now Darren Head is making progress and he's starting to attack Scott Davely. He's becoming very aggressive there, but of course we only have 1 lap to go and Darren can see that podium literally in front of him. So fascinating battle here for 3rd place in the late stages of this race. Into Canada corner. Now we haven't seen many moves here, and probably that's for a good reason, because it's really tricky to execute it. Oh, and Darren Head is... Oh, there was their contact there. Was there contact there between Darren Head and Scott Davely? Let's have a closer look. Darren breaks very late, and I believe Scott was already spinning. Let's have a quick look here to see what... certainly I believe there was contact there. The question is, I think Scott was already losing it himself, and we have multiple replays of this incident. And let's see if... Oh! No, actually, if you look closer, there was no contact between the 2 drivers, and look at Diogo Almeida up into 4th place. Nicely done there by Diogo Almeida. He's quick, he won race 1, so he certainly knows what he's doing around Road America. He had... Oh, and now he's running wide, and he's losing that 4th position again to Scott Davely. Scott basically lost it. I mean, I think the illusion, optical illusion, was that Darren also almost outbraked himself there. So it looked as if Darren had outbraked himself and ran into Scott, but that was certainly not the case. Look at Diogo Almeida. This is the last lap of the race. He can see 3rd place man Darren Head, but now is maybe a little bit of a hot head. And now look at this. Scott Davely has run wide there. Scott Davely runs wide in turn 2. He's definitely feeling the pressure, but can he now hold on to that 4th place? Here comes Diogo Almeida. Last lap of the race, 5.6 seconds is the gap at the front. Simon Allen is going to win. He's going to be his 2nd win of the season. But now, here for the last place of the podium, everything is to be decided between Darren Head, Scott Davely, and Diogo Almeida. Only a few more corners to go in this race. And tire wear becoming, of course, a big issue at this point in this race as they go through the carousel for one last time and then Canada corner. But it's going to be Simon Allen going to be the winner of race 2 after Diogo Almeida won race 1. It is Simon Allen, his 2nd win of the season. A few more corners to go. Dominant performance. He was on pole position. He did the fastest lap. He led every lap. And now he is going to take the win, and this could be Simon Allen's championship. Just 2 more races to go in Dubai. It could be his championship. Simon Allen is going to win here at Rotterdam. Race 2 takes the checkered flag followed by Diogo Silva repeating the result of race 1. That's not a bad result to get a few more points in the championship. Third is going to be Darren Head. Fourth is going to be Scott Davely. Fifth is going to be Diogo Almeida. Sixth is going to be Kev Allen. Oh, look at Diogo Almeida. He's basically very close to Scott Davely, but not quite. Scott takes fourth, Diogo takes fifth. Sixth is Kev Allen. Seventh is going to be Jorge Jesus. He did manage to recover a couple of positions, but still not the place where he wanted to be. Eighth is going to be Peter Adrian. Ninth is going to be Andrew Dalby. A bit of a disappointing run for Andrew. He showed good promise, but no consistency, and ends up in ninth. And David Lemke is going to finish in 10th place. We had 10 drivers here. All the 10 drivers have finished, and all the 10 drivers are on the lead lap. This has been a fascinating race here at Road America. Again, we didn't see that much overtaking, but nevertheless a very interesting race with... Oh, and this is Andrew Dalby. Well, he's just doing it for fun now. There's confirmation of the results. Simon Allen, championship leader, followed by Diogo Silva and Darren Head on the podium. This was coverage of round 4. One more round to go, and let's see who wins the title. See you very soon.